Hi, this is Ian Gack with Explode Swing, and in this video we're going to go over the barrel turn progression. One of my favorite progression drills to help hitters really feel what it's like to get that barrel on plane deep in the zone and release that barrel head through the zone, having an accelerating barrel through contact and extension, creating more bat speed, more exit velocity, right? And not only that, it's more time in the zone, more room for error, okay? Don't have to be perfect with that timing. So unfortunately, too many young hitters and even higher level hitters are taught knob to the ball, right? Ball here, knob to the ball, hands to the ball, inside half of the ball. I know I was taught that even in, as a young hitter and even up into professional baseball, right? That knob to the ball action or inside half of the ball action. The problem with that is when we go knob to the ball or hands to the ball, I get this little pushing action here. And a lot of times, even if I'm thinking inside half of the ball, we get this pushing action. And when I go out, actually make contact, you can see my barrel is behind the ball on an angle this way. So what we end up with a lot of times when we have that action and we're reinforcing that action is a lot of balls slicing, right? Or since the barrel's kind of being dragged behind and it's not in the zone, we end up trying to compensate because we're a little bit late, and we end up with rollovers. And sometimes it does work, right? Sometimes everything's perfect and it works out well and we hit the ball hard and straight and true with good backspin. But your room for error becomes very, very small, right? So just thinking, if I'm pushing my hands here, my barrel's not quite in the zone, it's kind of dragged behind. So I'm entering the zone now. So my room to hit the ball is from here to here. That's my window. Right? But I want to give myself more time than that. So I want to get that barrel working deeper in the zone and releasing that barrel. Now I can be in the zone from here all the way through here. Now I give myself a lot more room to hit, make solid contact, okay? So what we want to do is have that barrel actually leading us through the zone. So once I get on plane, once I'm into my bat lag position, I'm working deep in the zone, I'm going to let that barrel start to turn through the zone and not push my hands, my knob through the zone. So there's a big difference when I'm releasing barrel back from here versus pushing here, and then now I'm just entering the zone late. What that does for us is, gives ourselves more room to hit, but I get more barrel acceleration working, so more bat speed, more exit velocity. And not only that, I'm going to end up with straighter, truer spin and ball flight to all fields. When I make contact behind the ball, I want my barrel to be about 90 degrees behind that baseball or softball, right? So if I'm working to the opposite field, it's be 90 degrees behind that ball to that field and with my body behind me, okay? Same thing to center field, to the middle of the field, right? Barrel behind the ball about 90 degrees. To the pull side, same thing, about 90 degrees behind the ball, right? With my body behind it, driving it straight and true to all fields. So how I perform the drill, right? First, you need a tee and a bat. We don't need a ball at all. All right. I like to set the tee as high as it can go. If you're a little shorter, then obviously you're probably not going to go as high as you can go. Get it to about belly button or a little bit higher, belly button high. And we're going to set the tee up behind us, right? And the distance behind us, meaning towards the catcher, is we're going to get ourselves to a good contact point. So thinking 90-degree bend with the top arm, palm up, palm down, barrel at 90 degrees behind the ball, but this time the tee. Right, we're going to line the center of our barrel up right behind the tee, right, the sweet spot. That's going to be our contact point right there behind us towards the catcher. Now out in front of us, same thing, just get that top arm about 90-degree bend, right, elbow at your side, palm up, palm down. We're about right there. If you're off, it doesn't have to be a precise distance. That's why I'm kind of letting you feel it out. So if you have it just maybe a little bit further out front, I'm okay. We don't want to be too far back, but maybe just a little bit further back, we're okay, but right in that range, okay? One thing to keep in mind here is that contact point is very different than extension. So a lot of hitters want to set up contact way out here, and that's extension, right? We're not going to be as powerful there, right? Conversely, we don't want to be too deep. So make sure you have that good little range in there where our top arm's about 90 degrees, palm up, palm down, getting that good contact point, right? We're having it behind us. So the reason why we have it behind us is so we feel our barrel working deep when we go through the drill. So the first part of the drill, we're just going to, and to go to my stance, we're just going to be in neutral stance, about shoulder width apart. We don't have to get in our regular hitting stance or anything like that. So about shoulder width apart, nice and tall, shoulder blades down and back, good posture. and then have our hands wherever we start them with our swing. So if you have kind of lower hands when you start or higher hands, right around the shoulder width, towards the shoulder height, anywhere you hold your hands, that's where we should start it. Right, in the first part of the drill, what we're going to work on is good loading pattern, right? So working a good scap load, right? And working that elbow in and back, getting that barrel to that good 45 degrees, both directions, okay? So 45, 45, we're working that good loading pattern. So have our hands that, wherever we start with our stance, we're just gonna load in and back, get into that good 45, 45, but after we get to that good load, we're actually gonna start to work our elbow towards our slot, our elbow slot position. Remember, the swing works fluid, so it's not gonna be just here and then I'm a robot and then it's the next thing. It's gonna work, actually stretch to load, and then it automatically goes to slot. So we stretch, load all the way into toe touch, but then when that heel comes down, so does the elbow. It starts to turn down to get towards that slot position. So when we do this drill, we want to work load to slot. We'll just call it load to slot, even though it's not quite fully to the slot, but we're working towards that slot position. So load to slot. So working that load in and back, you can kind of think nod to the armpit or elbow in and back, load to slot, 45, 45, making it kind of a fluid action, okay? So I like to do reps of 5. I think it's a good number, but you can use any number you want to, okay? So load to slot for 5. After we get load to slot for 5, we're gonna work load to bat lag, okay? So we're gonna start to get it a little bit more fluid, working that barrel turning back, right? So load, so go load to slot, essentially to bat lag. So that all happens kind of fluidly. So load to bat lag. Couple of things to point out here. The barrel's gonna stay tight towards the body, so don't just let it fall back here, all right? And then the other thing is, make sure we actually do get that elbow starting to work down, right, before that barrel comes down, because a lot of times it's easy to start going this direction, and now we're actually kind of reinforcing a pushing action, and that elbow doesn't actually kind of slot down, because we want to be able to create a little bit of a pull back here and a little bit of a whipping action with that barrel as we release it through the zone. We don't want to get to a point where we're working to push, right? So it's actually going to work load to slot and then load to slot to bat lag, right there, okay? For 5, all right? Then after we get 5 or whatever number you're working to, hold it, and then we're gonna hold that bat lag position. So we palm up, palm down, right? Not quite a 90, but close to it, right? Tight to the shoulder with the barrel. And now from here, we're just going to release. So it's important that we think barrel first before the hands go forward and the elbow extends at all. So I'm here at the bat lag position, release the barrel. Release the contact. Release the contact, okay? Release the contact. If we're going this way, hands first, now that barrel is gonna be on an angle behind the contact point. So if you're using, let's say, a punching bag, it'd be pretty evident that you're on this angle. But the T has some give, so we can actually release through it. So it could be kind of hard to tell, but make sure that we're thinking barrel first, and then the hands will follow. On the other side of things, it's not all barrel and that elbow stays pinned and everything just kind of rolls over. So there's a balance there where it's gonna be barrel, then the elbow will start to extend a little bit away from the body, okay? So back and forth for 5, all right? That's the number I like to use. And then after that, it's all fluid. So we're gonna work from our load to slot, bat leg, all the way through contact. So we kind of put it all together. All right, so that's from that angle. Same thing over here is from the load, slot, bat leg, release the contact. Okay, one thing to keep in mind here, don't get too crazy with putting the barrel out here. There's a relationship here between the elbow and the barrel, so they are a little bit tied together, even though it kind of works a little bit independent right back here as we're going to slot, but don't tip it way out, okay? So load, unless that is your normal loading pattern, but that's something to identify on your own. Now, one thing to keep in mind that this T is behind us, right? And we don't make contact back here, right? This T is behind us, that's towards the catcher, pitcher would be over here. So if I'm reinforcing this, that probably wouldn't work very well because the ball's coming this way, right? So that wouldn't work. So the only reason why we're doing this is to reinforce that the swing works deep in the zone. But after this, we want to put it all together. So we're going to add a turn. So from this point, we're actually going to turn. We'll line up our, our front foot just a little bit behind the tee, just in a neutral stance. We don't have to get in a good hit. We don't have to be in a good hitting stance or take a stride load or get to a wide base, a real hitting position. We can be neutral. We're just trying to kind of put it all together. So this turn of the barrel, right, this load here, we're going to be squared up. But as I get to bat lag, the backside is actually turning, right? So our bat lag position isn't right here. It actually happens with a turn at the backside. So we're just going to put it all together. I call it turn, turn. And essentially it's turn, turn, turn. So I'm going to load, turn backside and barrel back, and then turn, release barrel to contact. So we're going to put it all together right here for 5. Load. All right, feeling that turn of the backside and that turn of the barrel deep in the zone, releasing barrel through contact. Okay, and just working that about 5 each. It's a real quick drill, good progression, but it really helps you to start to feel that barrel getting on plane deep and releasing through the zone, and just really trying to get rid of this pushing action with the hands. Okay, and that's barrel turn progression. Great drill. Highly recommend to make it part of your routine.